Ready to see the future through the lens of the past? Welcome to Endtime Prophecy Stories. Here we dive deep into ancient mysteries and uncover what lies ahead in a world filled with uncertainty. But we can't do it without you. If you want to stay prepared and never miss a revelation, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. And if you find value in these stories, give this video a like. It helps us reach more truth seekers just like you. Now let's open the seal on today's story. The Tower of Babel. Man's first attack on the firmament. Chapter 1. The Kiln of Shinar. The heat in the valley of Shinar was not merely a temperature, it was a weight. It pressed down upon the backs of the thousands who swarmed the clay pits, a physical manifestation of the density that bound all things to the stable earth. Khepri, a laborer of the lineage of Mizraim, wiped a slurry of mud and sweat from his eyes. He was a man of few words, his skin the color of burnished copper, his hands hardened by years of shaping the earth into squares. Here, the horizon was a perfect flat line that stretched endlessly in all directions. There was no curvature to hide the distant camps. The fires of a million workers twinkled like fallen stars across the vast plain. "More straw!" bellowed the overseer, a giant of a man whose lineage clearly carried the tainted blood of the old mighty ones. "The king demands another 10,000 bricks before the sun sets behind the western rim." Khepri hefted his basket. He looked toward the center of the plain. There, rising like a defiant fist against the heavens, was the foundation of the tower. It was already wider than any city Khepri had seen in the land of his fathers. It was not just a building, it was a mountain made by hands, designed to conquer the sky. Chapter 2. The Hunter's Decree. That evening the work ceased as the trumpets of ram's horn echoed across the plain. Nimrod was approaching. Khepri stood near the perimeter of the royal pavilion, hidden in the shadows of a drying stack of bricks. He watched as the king of Shinar ascended a wooden platform. Nimrod was terrifying to behold, clad in the skins of leopards, holding a bow that no ordinary man could draw. "People of the one tongue," Nimrod's voice boomed, carrying unnaturally over the silence. "Look around you. The waters of the flood once sought to drown us. The great enemy above sought to wipe us from this stationary earth. But never again." The crowd roared. Khepri felt a chill that defied the desert heat. "We build not for shelter," Nimrod continued, pointing his spear straight up at the stars. "We build a gate. We will ascend to the crystalline ceiling. We will pierce the firmament and claim the throne that watches us. We will make a name for ourselves that will span worldwide, so we are never scattered." Khepri trembled. To speak of breaking the firmament was madness. The dome was the shield of the world, established to hold back the waters above. To break it was to invite the deluge again. Chapter 3. Whispers of the Watchers. The construction involved more than just brick and bitumen. As the weeks turned to months, Khepri noticed strange figures moving among the master architects. They were pale, tall, and spoke in hushed tones about angles and stars. Khepri was assigned to carry scroll cases for a master mason named Tubal. One night, while arranging the maps, Khepri saw drawings that made his stomach turn. They were not blueprints for rooms, but diagrams of war machines designed to operate at high altitudes. "You look at the forbidden geometry, slave?" Tubal asked, stepping into the tent. Khepri bowed his head. "I only wonder, master, how can stone float so high?" Tubal laughed, a cold, metallic sound. "It is not magic. It is the knowledge of the Watchers, passed down from before the flood. We do not fight density, we master it. The deeper we dig into the secrets of the earth, the higher we can rise. The gods who fell taught us how to mix the metals to pierce the sapphire floor of heaven." Khepri realized then that this was not a monument, it was a siege tower. Chapter 4. The Circle of the Earth. Years passed. The tower grew until it pierced the clouds. Khepri was moved from the clay pits to the upper levels, hauling food and water to the workers who lived in the sky. It was common for men to fall to their deaths, not to be mourned, but to be quickly replaced. Our lives were worth less than the mud we packed. The view from the halfway point changed Khepri's soul. Looking out a window slit, he saw the truth of creation. The earth was a magnificent circle, inscribed upon the deep. The sun did not remain static. He watched it move in its circuit, a small, focused light circling above the plain, just as the ancient stories said. "It is beautiful," Khepri whispered to himself, "and terrifying." A fellow slave, an elder from the line of Shem, stood beside him. "It is the footstool of the Creator," the old man said softly, "and we are bugs crawling up the leg of the throne with needles." "Why does he not stop us?" Khepri asked. "Perhaps he waits to see how high our pride can grow before the harvest," the old man replied, before hurrying away to avoid the whip. Chapter 5. The Armies of the Air. The 10th tier of the tower was a fortress. Here the air was thin and cold. The laborers gasped for breath, their chests heaving, but the soldiers of Nimrod seemed unaffected, fueled by a dark sorcery. Khepri witnessed the arrival of the weaponry. Great ballistae, crafted from iron and bronze, were hoisted up the internal ramps, but these were not aimed at the ground. They were cranked backward, aiming vertically. The soldiers wore armor inscribed with sigils Khepri recognized from the forbidden tablets. They were preparing for a war, not against flesh and blood, but against the principalities. "The firmament is near," a captain shouted, his eyes wild. "The scouts report the air is changing. We can see the shimmer of the solid barrier." Khepri looked up. Through the breaks in the clouds, the sky was not merely blue air. It was a solid, translucent substance, glowing like lapis lazuli. The barrier that separated the waters above from the waters below. Chapter 6. The Face of the Deep. The final push began. Khepri was forced to carry bundles of iron-tipped arrows to the highest observation deck. He was now miles above the surface of the earth. The worldwide expanse below was a patchwork of green and brown, motionless and stable. At the summit, the atmosphere crackled with static energy. The firmament was close, so close it felt as if one could reach out and touch the ceiling of the world. It hummed with a low vibration, the sound of the universe holding together. Nimrod stood at the precipice, flanked by his sorcerers. He looked up at the dome, his face twisted in a sneer of absolute arrogance. "Open the armory!" Nimrod commanded. "Prepare the fire that burns in water!" Khepri huddled against a parapet. He felt a presence, not of the soldiers, but something ancient and holy pressing down from the other side of the glass-like sky. He realized that the Creator was not far away in some distant void. He was right there, just above them. Chapter 7. The Assault on Heaven. "Loose!" The command shook the stone beneath Khepri's feet. 1,000 ballistae fired simultaneously. Spears tipped with alchemical fire streaked upward, defying density. They screamed through the thin air, aiming for the crystalline expanse. Khepri watched in horror as the weapons struck the firmament. There was no shattering, no crack. Instead, the weapons seemed to dissolve into sparks against the impenetrable hardness of God's boundary. "Again!" Nimrod screamed, his face red with rage. "Break it! I want the throne!" The men shouted, a unified roar of rebellion. They were ants attacking a diamond, but the intent was clear. Murder in their hearts against the Almighty. Khepri covered his ears, squeezing his eyes shut. "Forgive us," he whispered, speaking to the ceiling of the world. "We are but dust." Chapter 8. The Descent of the Holy Ones. Suddenly, The firing stopped. The roar of the crowd died into a suffocating silence. Khepri opened his eyes. The light of the sun had dimmed. A terrifying brilliance, brighter than the sun but cold and pure, began to descend, not through the firmament, but manifesting within the air itself. It was not a weapon, it was a presence. "Come, let us go down," a voice echoed, not audible to the ears, but vibrating in the bones of every man, woman, and child on the tower. It was a plural voice, harmonious and terrible. Nimrod raised his bow, aiming at the light. "I see you!" he howled. But the light did not strike him with lightning. It did not burn him. It simply passed through the multitude like a wind. Khepri felt a strange twisting in his mind, a snapping of the threads that connected his thoughts to his tongue. Chapter 9. The Fracture of Tongues. "Regroup! Reload the ballistae!" Nimrod shouted. But the words that came out of his mouth were not the words of the one tongue. They were harsh, guttural sounds. The captain turned to Nimrod, confused. "Estrak balo?" the captain asked, eyes wide with panic. Nimrod stared at him. "What do you say to your king?" "Kalama fure!" another soldier screamed. Chaos erupted. It was instantaneous and absolute. Men turned on each other, thinking they were being mocked. Architects shouted orders that the builders heard as gibberish. The unity of the mind was shattered. The great collaborative hive mind that had built the tower was severed by the surgical blade of the Creator. Khepri stood up. A soldier grabbed him, shouting, "Jur Bagol!" Khepri opened his mouth to reply in the old tongue, but what came out was smooth and flowing. "I do not understand you," he said, but the words were foreign even to himself. He was speaking the language of the Nile, the future tongue of Egypt, though he did not know it yet. Chapter 10. The Scattered Seed. The tower became a slaughterhouse of confusion. Without communication, the construction failed. Density reclaimed its due as accidents multiplied. Men fled the summit, terrified of the friends they could no longer understand. Khepri ran. He descended the thousands of steps, passing weeping men and raging kings. He did not stop until his feet touched the solid, flat earth of the Shinar plain. He looked back. The Tower of Babel stood silent against the darkening sky, a monument to unfinished pride. The armies were dispersing, scattering in all directions, each group banding together with those who shared their new, strange sounds. Khepri walked alone toward the west. He looked up at the night sky, where the stars were turning in their perfect, ordained circles within the dome. He no longer saw a fortress to be conquered. He saw a tabernacle. He fell to his knees, pressing his forehead to the cool dust. "You are there," Khepri whispered in his new tongue. "You sit above the circle of the earth. You are the wall and the enclosure. You are the Creator." For the first time in his life, the slave was free. He rose and walked into the vast, worldwide wilderness, carrying nothing but the truth of what he had seen. Epilogue: The Mystery of Iniquity. The summit of the tower was silent, save for the wind that whipped through the abandoned embrasures. The fires of the alchemical engines had died, leaving only the acrid smell of sulfur and failure. Far below, on the stable, flat expanse of the Shinar plain, the torches of the scattering tribes looked like dying embers drifting apart in the dark. Standing upon the highest parapet, invisible to the eyes of flesh, stood the dragon. He did not look down at the fleeing humans. He looked up. He glared with burning, ancient hatred at the shimmering, translucent face of the firmament. It remained scratchingless, perfect and impassable, a sapphire floor that sealed him in this terrarium of dust. He let out a roar that shook the spiritual atmosphere, a sound of pure, unadulterated rage that made the demons cowering in the shadows tremble. "He has severed the bond," the dragon hissed, his voice like the grinding of stones. He saw that nothing would be restrained from them, so he struck their minds. He has broken the one tongue. A dark principality, shaped like a shadow of smoke, drifted closer. The unity is gone, Master. The construction has ceased. The humans scattered to the four corners of the plane. We cannot force them to build. They no longer understand the blueprints. The dragon turned, his eyes glowing with a cold, calculating light. The anger remained, but it was now tempered by a terrifying patience. He thinks distance and language will save them? He thinks scattering them across the worldwide face of the earth will keep them from my grasp. He looked at the sun, which was currently dipping beyond the horizon, a small, localized luminary moving on its circuit within the dome. "Listen to me, powers of the air," the dragon commanded. "If we cannot unite them through language, we will unite them through worship. We will take the truth of this enclosure and twist it. We will make them worship the creature rather than the creator." He pointed a clawed hand toward the sun. "We will teach them to bow to the sun. In every new tongue, I will have a new name. To the people of the Nile, I will be Ra. To the people of the north, I will be Odin. To the Canaanites, I will be Baal. They will build obelisks to the sun in every nation. They will forget the Creator who sits above the circle of the earth, and they will worship the light that moves within it." The demons began to chitter with understanding. "We will create a mystery," the dragon vowed, "a harlot religion that will span the ages. We will hide the truth of the fixed, stationary earth and blinding them with lies of vast, empty voids where God is distant. We will wait." He walked to the edge of the tower, looking out over the vast timeline of history. "Let them scatter. Let the centuries roll by. But hear this pledge. The end of the age will come. Knowledge will increase. We will teach them to forge the iron and mix the clay once more. We will teach them to build a new tower, not of brick, but of information and light. We will reunite the tongues through their machines." The dragon looked back up at the silent, impenetrable firmament. "We will meet here again," he whispered to the dome. "When the number of the years is full, I will gather the kings of the earth once more. And next time, when we strike the glass, we will not miss. We will break the sky, and I will ascend above the heights of the clouds." With a final swirl of darkness, the presence vanished from the tower, descending into the world to sow the seeds of Babylon in every language of men.
For more Bible-based end-time prophecy dramas to strengthen your faith and the faith of others, help spread the word by supporting the channel. Please like, subscribe, and share.